My fiancé told his buddies he wasn't sure about marrying me, then laughed and said, if she was prettier, I'd be more excited. 2 days later, his mom met me in a coffee shop with red eyes and said there was a woman at his job behind his sudden cold feet. We'd been together 5 years, engaged 8 months. He proposed on a simple hike at our favorite lookout, fumbling the ring like a nervous teenager. I said yes. I picked October. I planned almost everything. He nodded along. Then the weirdness started. Venues were too expensive. Guest lists were too big. My texts about caterers got looks fine hours later. He began living at the sports bar after work with one loud coworker who loved divorce horror stories. I tried the fix-it routine, date night, nice dress, his favorite beer in the fridge. Halfway through dinner, he stared at the table and said, I'm not sure I'm ready for all of this. Not just the honeymoon, the marriage, the forever. I kept my voice low because strangers don't deserve front row seats to my life falling apart. He slept on the couch. I slept with our cat and a locked door. The next day, he went to watch the game with the guys. My best friend dragged me out for coffee and Target wandering so I wouldn't rot in the apartment. That evening, I pulled into our complex and got a message from one of his coworkers. Are you okay? He asked. Things got weird at the bar. I sat in my car, engine off, hands stuck to the wheel. He said the guys were teasing my fiancé about being tied down. Someone asked what was holding him back. My fiancé, drunk and grinning, said it like a punchline. If she was prettier, I'd marry her faster. Everything went slow. My thumb scraped my ring. My stomach dropped. I stared at my reflection in the window like it belonged to someone else. Then I cried until my face felt hot. When I walked upstairs, he was passed out in his clothes. The place smelled like beer and disrespect. The next morning, he cooked apology bacon and tried to act normal. When I confronted him, he minimized it. I was drunk. It was a joke. Guys being guys. He looked shocked that I didn't accept breakfast as payment. I left for my brother's place. My brother wanted to go find him. I told him I needed space, not violence. When I finally went back to the apartment to grab clothes, he was sitting on the couch in sweats, surrounded by my wedding binders like they were evidence. He admitted he'd been spiraling for months, terrified of becoming his dad, the guy who left when he was 12 for a coworker. What if I ruin you? He asked. I told him ruining me wasn't a future tense. It was already happening. Monday morning, his mom called, crying, and asked to meet. She didn't sugarcoat it. My fiancé had been confused for months because of a new project coordinator at work. Not physical, she said, but emotional. He'd been comparing, daydreaming, pulling away, and picking fights instead of telling the truth. On the drive home, his sister called and accidentally said the woman's name out loud, then backpedaled so hard it was almost funny. That was when I knew this wasn't just stress. I met the woman anyway. Daylight, neutral cafe, 2 chairs, and a lot of tension. She looked nervous, not smug. She showed me their messages, mostly work, a few memes, nothing flirty. She had a long-term boyfriend. She said the loud coworker had been hyping my fiancé up, telling him to explore options before he got trapped. So she wasn't the villain I wanted. She was collateral. Then I set up a final sit-down. Me, my fiancé, his mom, his sister, and that loud coworker. The coworker tried to call it guy talk. His sister snapped, "This is 3 months from a wedding. Shut up." My fiancé admitted he'd been scared and hiding it, and the bar comment was him trying to look cool. I didn't care. He still used my face as a joke when I wasn't there to defend myself. I looked at the plates, the napkins, the normal dinner stuff, and I said, I'm not marrying someone who isn't sure. He started to protest. I stood up anyway. After that, it was keys, lease, accounts, vendors, and a deposit I didn't get back. I moved into a smaller place. I blocked his number long enough to breathe. His mom and sister stayed kind, which honestly saved me from feeling like I lost an entire family. The honeymoon was non-refundable, so I took it alone. Next week, I'll sit on that little deck by the water with 3 books and 0 doubts in my ear. He made his joke. I made my choice.